Hey y'all, welcome back. My name's Sarah and this is my channel, The Sassy Bookworm. So today I'm going to be doing my first book review on here. I'm actually really excited for this. I actually planned this video pretty well, I think, so hopefully all goes well. But just be warned, this is my first book review on here, so it may not be the best book review, but I still want to try to share my honest opinion with you all. I have technically written a few reviews here and there on Goodreads, but it was never anything very extreme because to me, a book review, like from my point of view, to tell you how I feel about the book, what I thought about it personally, what I liked about it personally, but without telling you what it's actually about. And to me, on Goodreads, I feel like that's what a lot of people do. Like, they'll actually, like, talk through the book, basically. But with my review, I do want to kind of keep it as, this is my opinion, this is why I think you should read this book, not, this is what happens, so read the book. But without further ado, let's review. The book that I'm going to be reviewing today is Love and Other Perishable Items by Laura Busso. I actually just hauled this video not too long ago in my book outlet unboxing, so I'll leave a link in the iCard up above if you want to go watch that video. So I actually picked this book up pretty quick after getting it, which is very unlike me. A lot of the times I feel like I need to read the books that I've had for a while before I read new books, but it was just a short book, so I was like, why not? It sounds like a cute read, so I went ahead and read it. So this book is a short standalone novel, as far as I am aware, which kind of upsets me slightly. Stick to the end to find out why. I believe that this book is classified as a young adult / new adult novel just because there are some older themes in the book that I feel would get it classified as new adult. I mean, although young adult could be getting a little risque, I don't know. So the basic concept of this book is the story of Amelia, a 15-year-old girl who is just starting to find her way in the real world, and Chris, a 21-year-old guy who doesn't want to face the real world. So Amelia has just gotten her first job at the Land of Dreams, which is what Chris always calls it. It's basically a grocery store where she works cashier and so does Chris, which is how she meets Chris. Chris is an older college guy and Amelia just instantly loves everything about him. She loves the talks that they have. She likes his personality. So Chris kind of becomes the guy who she bases everyone on. Chris is the person that she wants to go to all the time. She looks forward to seeing Chris at work. She just is always thinking about Chris. And Chris also becomes pretty attached to her, and he takes to calling her youngster to kind of show his affection in his own way. The two of them just seem to instantly click, even though they are in two very different parts of their lives. As the story goes, Amelia starts to branch out and starts going to the parties that her co-workers throw. And just a quick side note, the cast of co-workers is actually pretty unique. I really like the dynamic of them. And you kind of see throughout the story their ranking in the store, what their position is, and how they kind of all relate with each other. Who's from where, who does this. I think it's a very interesting part to put into the story, and I really did like the cast of co-workers, even though they were all kind of jerks. So anyway, so of course Chris is at these parties because he is an older guy. He does go out drinking, he goes out to party a lot with his friends. And at these parties, when Amelia's there, he kind of becomes more of her protector as she's trying to branch out and be one of them, for lack of a better word. You can kind of see that Chris sees her as more of a pure soul, and he doesn't want her to get corrupted. He wants her to stay the same person that she is, but he still encourages her to have fun. Throughout the story, we actually get to see from both points of view how they actually start to view each other and what roles that they want to take with each other and the real world. So I kind of wanted to go over some of my favorite aspects of the book in general, not just the story. One thing I really enjoyed about this book was how different that the chapters were between the two characters. Of course, there are tons of books that have switching point of views from chapter to chapter, but they're usually just written as books. Whereas in this book, we get to see just basic normal chapters from Amelia, which kind of fits her lifestyle. She's always been a pretty basic, well-behaved girl. However, we also have Chris's chapters that are written as journal entries, basically. So it kind of shows more emotion, which I think that fits Chris really well, because Chris just seems like a very emotional, very in touch person, and the journal entries show like his inner struggle, what he actually thinks. We get to look into his mind about the past that he's had. And I did just really like the way the chapters were set up. I thought that it was a very interesting thing that fit these two characters pretty well. Another aspect of this book that I really enjoyed was Orobozo's take on this story. She tells it very realistically, rather than it just being this love story where everything works out, you know, the age difference isn't that big of a deal. She actually confronts the age difference and how other people in the world would view it, how they themselves should view it. I thought that was a really interesting point to take, and I really did like that about this book, because while I do love a good cutesy novel like I thought this was gonna be, I did really enjoy the realistic take on it, because it's really nice to see when books do that instead of just, oh, everything works out in the end, everyone's happy. Like, sure, characters die in books, but in most cases, everything turns out right in the end. So now, what I thought personally of this book. I did really enjoy this book, but it didn't blow me away. The book itself was not what I was expecting. I was expecting a cute novel about a nice love story. However, that's not what I got. It was a lot more real than I expected, like I just said before, with the aspects of the book. But I ended up really enjoying that about the book, even though it's not what I wanted to start with. It is a pretty slow-paced book, but when something happens, it happens. Let me tell you, it happens. And that starts to make it pick up pretty quickly from the slow pace that it was. There wasn't a huge amount of dialogue, which dialogue is something that I really enjoy in books, but I kind of understand why there wasn't that much dialogue in this book because of the way that the chapters were written. Like, a good portion of the book is these journal entries from Chris. I mean, there is still dialogue in it. You're gonna have dialogue in pretty much any book. I did still really enjoy the book regardless of that. I enjoyed the story itself, and I did like this writing style, and so I just wanted to kind of share a few quotes with you guys that I thought were either really funny or I really liked. So one of the quotes that I really liked from this book was, "I can't run my own race. I'm constantly checking what's happening in the other lanes." And I actually really liked that quote because I feel like it does relate a lot to real life, especially if you're a very busy person and you have a lot of responsibilities. A lot of the times you forget to take care of yourself because you're constantly looking at other people and seeing what they need or seeing what you need to do. You're never actually just thinking about yourself. So that's one of the reasons that I really like this quote. And then I have another quote that I really liked, and it's more of like a full paragraph, honestly, but I did want to go ahead and read it to you guys. "For those of you who are unfamiliar with the lifestyle, you do get used to having a whooping pointless crush. By using the word lifestyle, I don't mean to imply that it is in any way glamorous or desirable. Just that it becomes a normal part of everyday life and your body gets kind of attuned to functioning on that plane. Your friends and teachers get used to you staring at the windows when you used to be quite sharp. You stare out all kinds of windows. Classroom windows, bus windows, your bedroom window, over the sink, and out of the kitchen window. Your central nervous system speeds up when the object of your affection is near or expected to be near. Your senses sharpen, particularly peripheral vision. I am acutely aware of Chris's movements at work. I see him approaching even when I'm studying a bag of beans to distinguish whether they're pinto or lima. I know which girls he's talked to throughout the shift. I know when he's preoccupied or playful by the way he moves. I know when he's pissed. He's been talking to Stork Green from Canned Goods. I know it all. Sometimes I mutter his name under my breath like a mad woman." It is kind of a long quote to like, even though it is kind of like this entire page, but I did want to share it because I thought that it was a really good look on having a crush and how they're all you think about, how you fantasize about them, and looking forward to being around them. I really liked that quote, and I thought that it would be good to share in this review. Maybe to show if it would be something that you would enjoy, if this quote makes you want to read the book. I just wanted to include it because I liked it so much. However, I need time to vent about this book now. So if you haven't read this book and you still plan on it, and you want to be spoiler free, then skip to this time right here. Okay, so I was slightly upset with the ending, to be quite honest. I thought maybe a good ending to this book was they would try to get together and decide for themselves. Maybe it wasn't the best time for them to be together in the different stages of life that they were in. However, that's not what I got at all. What I got was Chris leaving, trying to escape his life that he had there, but leaving the shred of hope for Amelia that maybe someday he would come back and maybe they could try to be together. Maybe. She is 15 years old, and he's basically telling her, maybe when I get my life together, we can try this. We could try to be together. Which to Amelia means she's not even gonna try to move on. She's not gonna try to go out with these other boys because all she can think about is Chris. She's 15. She has the rest of her life to get on with. Chris just had to go in and ruin everything. They couldn't have just had this nice conversation where they talked it out, decided they couldn't have been together, and she could have moved on with life. I feel like if there was a sequel to this book, I would be more okay with it. I'd be more at peace with the thought of Chris maybe coming back and them trying or them talking it out. Just something so that Amelia's not hanging on to this little shred of hope. Granted, it seems like she's happy by the end of the book, and she's kind of coming to terms with her friend liking this guy that she doesn't like, and like them having all these new friends, and it not just being her and her best friend anymore. But at the end of the book, she's still basically saying she wants to wait for Chris, even though she seems happy. I don't know. It's just that concept bothers me. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read this book and you're as frustrated as I am about it, because I don't know. I got very tore up about it. Like, when I read it, I wasn't that tore up about it. And then I started writing this review, and it just started to bother me more and more. Alright, rant over. So, my overall impression of this book is I did enjoy this book. It didn't blow me away, so I'm going to say it is a 4 out of 5 stars for me. I liked the story. I liked the aspects of it. I liked the way it was written, but there was just a few things that I couldn't forgive. I would still recommend this book to people, maybe not to new readers and maybe not to young readers, but people who have been reading for a while and are a little more mature. It is a really good book to read, and I did like it, even though, you know, if you were here for the rant, just some things, just little things that I didn't like, just little ones. But that's all that I had for y'all today. I hope that y'all enjoyed this review, found it helpful, and honestly, I hope it made sense. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read this book and what your personal opinions were on this book. Hit that like button down there if you enjoyed this review and want to see more reviews. Click that subscribe button down below if you want to see more content from me. And come with me as I figure out who I'm going to be on YouTube. I try to post a video at least once a week. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And until next time, I will see you guys then. Bye!